Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into the work of Jürgen Habermas. Probably the most important German philosopher of the later 20th century, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Hugely influential. We've got some great material covering his life, his key ideas, and importantly, his critical take on post-structuralism and postmodern thought.
Right. So our mission here is to really unpack his core arguments and figure out why they, still matter today. We'll touch on his early life, World War II.
Yeah, the Nazi era, the Nuremberg trials. That experience was fundamental. It really cemented his belief in constitutional democracy.
And his awareness of Heidegger's Nazi links, too. That was a big moment for him, apparently.
A critical moment, yes. It pushed him towards a certain kind of vigilance, you could say. He went on to study philosophy, worked with Adorno at the Frankfurt School.
From 56 to 59. But interestingly, he felt their critical theory wasn't quite, coherent?
He found it maybe lacked a unified, a systematic framework. And his own path started emerging, with this structural transformation of the public sphere back in '62. That was a big early marker.
Okay, so the Frankfurt School context. He's second generation. The first wave, Adorno, Horkheimer, Marcuse, they were pretty critical of modernity, right? Kind of pessimistic.
Very much so. They focused on instrumental reason, the culture industry. A lot of pessimism about where modernity was heading. Habermas, though, he shifted things.
Towards communication.
Exactly, the communicative turn. He saw potential within modernity, specifically within rational communication, for emancipation, a big departure.
Which sets the stage for his critique of post-structuralism and post-modernity. He really takes them on in the philosophical discourse of modernity.
He does. He engages directly with Nietzsche, Heidegger, Derrida, Foucault.
What was his main issue? With Nietzsche, for example.
Well, he argued that even Nietzsche's critique, his sort of genealogy, was still caught up in the very subject-centered reason it was trying to dismantle.
And Heidegger.
Similarly, he felt Heidegger's attempt to overcome modernity still had to rely on modern concepts. It's like trying to leave a room using only the furniture inside it, perhaps.
That's a good way to put it. And his issues with Derrida and Foucault seem even sharper.
Definitely. With Derrida, the worry was about linguistic relativism. The deconstruction might make it impossible to ground social critique or ethical judgment, that everything becomes just text.
Undermining the possibility of shared meaning or standards.
Precisely. And with Foucault, Habermas pointed to what he saw as a performative contradiction. Foucault used rational analysis to critique power and reason, but Habermas questioned where the normative basis for that critique came from if reason itself is suspect.
So Habermas defends the Enlightenment project in a way, but a reformed version.
Yes, he defends the potential of reason, but proposes communicative reason as the alternative. It's not the old subject-centered instrumental reason.
Okay, let's unpack communicative reason. How does it differ from instrumental reason?
So instrumental reason is all about efficiency, calculation, achieving a goal. Like, how do I best manipulate this situation? Communicative reason, on the other hand, is oriented towards mutual understanding, reaching agreement through dialogue.
Through talk.
Through speech acts aimed at understanding. Habermas says these acts carry built-in validity claims. Claims about truth, about normative rightness, and about the speaker's sincerity.
In the ideal speech situation. That sounds, that's idealistic.
It is a theoretical model, yeah. It's a situation free from coercion, where only the unforced force of the better argument wins out. It's a benchmark, really, against which we can measure actual communication.
A contrast to the postmodern skepticism about universal reason.
Exactly. And this ties into his ideas of intersubjectivity and the life world.
Right. Intersubjectivity being shared understanding.
Shared understanding, mutual recognition. The stuff that happens between subjects, mediated by language. This is central for him, contrasting with the focus on fragmented subjectivity you find elsewhere.
And the life world.
That's the taken-for-granted background. Shared meanings, cultural assumptions, the stuff that makes communication and intersubjectivity possible in the first place. It directly counters ideas of radical incommensurability between perspectives.
You can see how he's pulling from so many different thinkers here. Kant, Hegel, Marx, Weber.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And speech act theorists like Austin and Searle, American pragmatists too. It's a massive synthesis.
And this synthesis leads to some really key concepts. We mentioned the public sphere earlier.
Yeah, that space for rational debate he saw emerging, then being transformed by mass media and consumer culture.
Then there's communicative power.
Legitimizing political authority through public opinion formed in that sphere. which leads naturally to
deliberative democracy.
right. Legitimacy comes from citizens hashing things out, participating in rational discussion.
But he also had a critique of how things often go wrong, didn't he? The colonization of the life world.
Yes, that's his idea, that the systems like the economy, state administration, driven by money and power, by instrumental reason, basically encroach on the life world, distorting communication and eroding those shared understandings.
So bringing it all together, why does Habermas still resonate? What's the takeaway?
We'll look around. His ideas give us tools to analyze the role of media today, the rise of populism, debates about truth and echo chambers, the pressures of globalization on local communities, and shared values.
So very relevant.
Definitely. Now, his work isn't without critics, of course. Some find his ideal speech situation unrealistic. Others question the universality, the potential Eurocentrism.
Sure, there are debates.
Always. But despite the criticisms, Habermas provides this incredibly valuable, complex framework for thinking about modern society, democracy, and the challenges we face. His defense of reason, communicative reason, and that focus on dialogue, on intersubjectivity, it's still a powerful lens.
It certainly makes you think differently about how we talk to each other and how society hangs together. A lot to chew on. What part of this connection, reason, communication, society sticks with you most? What feels urgent to keep thinking about?